Welcome to the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast. I, of course, am your host, Dean Phillips, and today with me from Waukesha, I have with me Chris Zuzick. Welcome, Chris.
Good morning. It's still morning, right? Good morning.
And, of course, welcome to FABTECH 2024.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great venue for our industry. Thankfully, all worked out with all the weather, and it's great to be here and supporting the state of Florida also, which is very, very important to all of us.
Yes, and I can tell you, I've seen some of the accolades from like the mayor and other local people telling us how important this was for this area. And I can't emphasize enough that how important it is for us to support this event, because this is where we all come together and coalesce. There's a great opportunity and there's a great bond within manufacturing. And I've said this before, is that the A is so important in PMA, the Precision Metal Forming Association. And it's members like yourself that are critical to the success of our industry. And there's a willingness within you to share. Can you tell me any of the firsthand experiences you've had with working with other manufacturers in our industry?
Well, I think there is this view of manufacturing that is really driving what we do here in the United States and in the Midwest and North America. So I'm very proud to be here to support manufacturing in Florida, of course, in the United States. And I think it just talks about the resiliency of manufacturing. We're always to be out in the forefront of making things happen, right? And I think it is wonderful to walk around and see people from all different areas of the United States and the world, frankly, coming here to show off what they do for the manufacturing and fabrication and metal. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and the new technologies, a show like this, one of the other areas that's really incredible is the new technologies that you get to see when you come here. If you haven't been to a show in a while, this is a great opportunity to come and see what new things can help you to improve. I think to hide your head in the sand and believe, everything we do, this is the way we do it.
Right.
It's the attitude of, if you've ever seen, there's a cartoon where there's a salesman there and he wants to talk to him about a new product, and he's like, I got to go fight these Indians, and they're out there with spears, and this guy's selling machine guns.
Right.
And I think sometimes we get locked in our own mentality. Well, I'm really good with a hammer, and I've lean process. I'm doing as efficiently as possible. Meanwhile, you have a press over here that can form the parts faster, do a better job, and more accurately. You have to look out and embrace some of these new technologies. What new technologies are you looking forward to here?
Well, first of all, I agree with you 100%. What I saw this morning, which was really, really cool, is a teacher bringing his students through here. And to me, that is a fantastic start of what we in PMA and manufacturing trying to do, is to engage that next level. Take them to a show like this and see the automation, see the robotics, see the way things are changing in manufacturing is just a testament of what we're trying to do as an industry. But to your question specifically, I walk around and I look at the ways that we become more efficient for our customers, we can become more profitable, and also at the same time more value to our customers. And I think that's, you walk around, you wish you had an open checkbook and just start writing checks for everything, right? But you can't do that. But it's just wonderful to see the technology and the innovation that we bring to the table. And I just hope that this type of trade show or trade shows can continue to focus on the youth and what they can see and they do. And, it's not just your normal stamping press anymore. You have robotics, automation, doing a lot of different things. And I think that's just great for this industry.
Yes, absolutely. And out there, raise your hand if you don't have a problem with workforce and finding people.
Right.
Because that's a challenge. And being able to inspire that next generation, I think, is critical to the future of our industry.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, to everything that's important for the U.S. and Canada, Mexico. We need to have a stable and a thriving manufacturing base in order to reach the best outcomes.
Absolutely.
what areas do you think are things that we can focus on in manufacturing to help inspire that next generation?
Well, I think if you just look at the capital around this room, right? The equipment, the things that we're innovating, it's not, you're talking about a lot of different approaches to forming metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just your traditional brake press, it's combinating laser turret, it's a combination of different storage systems, a combination of different robotics. And that innovation gets people excited and gets the youth excited, quite frankly. Yes. And I think that's what the Waukesha Metal Product, what we're trying to do is utilize the value of the type of equipment here and get people excited about when they come out of school. They're not just doing welding, maybe they're actually using a robotic system to weld multiple products, and you're programming that. That to me is where the next level of what we can do in this industry to drive manufacturing. I think there's a huge momentum in the United States. It's taken a lot of time, but for the first time, I'm actually feeling that, people are starting to listen to, instead of going to school for 4 years to be a doctor, no offense being a doctor or a banker, going to the trades, going to journeyman tool making. And that's our job in manufacturing. That's where our job at PMA is, to instill that level of excitement to the next generation. Because that's what we have to do to remain competitive in the United States and in North America.
Yes, that's a great point. And it's interesting because I started off, I am a product of a vocational high school.
Yep.
So I went to a vocational high school. I went on to college, but I can tell you, when I work in this industry, the motor control, circuitry and design, those are the areas how motors work, AC theory. All of those things are things that I use on almost a daily basis.
Right.
That, whereas the things I learned in college, probably 90% I don't even use anymore because it's all outdated.
Exactly. Exactly.
But you have to look at, why do people want to do this? And I think that's important for all of us in manufacturing and everybody out there, is why.
Right.
What do you think is our why for our industry?
Well, our why, I think, is we need to become those leaders in manufacturing again in the world. We have the foundation to do it. If you go back in time, back into pre-World War II, if you look at all the companies that were in business at that time, and when the government came to them and said, we need you to help us prepare for war, what did these companies do? They jumped into, instead of making vehicles, they started making tanks. Instead of making, rakes and shovels, they started making armaments. That's the history of what most people should know about manufacturing in the United States, is that we've been in this world, doing manufacturing for so long, and we need to continue to rise up and continue to raise our game in the world, because we have all the tools available to us. It's just a matter of continuing to focus and make it better for all of us.
Right. And I think that it's hard for kids, somebody who's, when I say kids, just young adults who are out there, to understand how impactful and a change they can make by being in a tool and die world. Right. The parts, everything that you see around you has some element of that has been made. From these microphones to the chairs that we're sitting, there's an element of that had to be formed or fabricated into these parts. And you can be part of that difference.
Right.
I think we need to make sure that we instill that, because I think a lot of the younger generation wants to know how they're impacting the world, how they're changing things.
Oh, I agree 100%. When you have that feeling of, I'm actually making a part that has impact on the safety of a vehicle, okay? And when you can look at somebody and say, when your car is driving down the road and you get a little buzz that says you're kind of going left and right, there's a computer module in there. There's a part made in the United States that helps make that happen. And that is rewarding to a lot of people. And I would even say, in some cases, if you're not only in, say, the defense industry, you're making fabrications for military vessels, you're playing a role in, supporting our country, our safety, our military strength. So those are the type of things that I think were lost for several years, but I think are really coming back from the perspective of, this is what we do well.
Yes.
And we have the framework in manufacturing throughout the United States, throughout North America, to be the leader. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. And events like this trade show, organization like PMA, which is, if you want to be in metal forming, anyway, metal forming, you should be in this organization. There's no doubt about it. This is the go-to organization for metal forming in the world as far as I'm concerned. And that's our value proposition. That's the why. That's why we should be part of taking this to the next level, and we're getting there.
Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because one of the things that I think is really important is how we train that next generation that's coming through.
Right.
So, and that's one area that I think the Precision Metal Forming Association does provide a huge service to, is with training either through Metal Form EDU or through in-plant trainings. What areas do you see that are needed in the training environment?
Well, I think the training is a huge aspect of this. And remember, you have a lot of companies that are small, mid-sized, family-run business that have been around for a long time. And I've always believed that if you ask anyone who is manufacturing something, if you ask them what percent of their revenue is CapEx, they can rattle off a number really quick. It's 4%, it's 5%. If you ask how many people, what percent of your revenue is training, they may not be able to answer that question for you. So my position is our most important asset. Don't get me wrong. A press is important from a capital perspective, right? You spend X amount of dollars in maintenance of that. But I would argue that your most important asset, if you want to use that term, is our people.
Yes.
So if we're making investment in equipment and repairing equipment, we need to take the same approach with our teammates. So training, giving them the path towards success. You come in, you want to be a quality person today, but where do you want to be 10 years from now? You want to be a quality manager. You want to be a supervisor on the floor. Well, maybe you want to be a manufacturing operation manager amongst 4 different operations. Our job as leaders is to take the tools and the information PMA has, put forth a plan for our teammates, and give them the path towards success. Ultimately, they got to do it, right? It's their choice if they want to do it, but we got to give them the tools to be successful, and PMA brings so much of that to the table.
Yeah. I love that term of path to success, because I think that's some areas where we get a lot of requests from HR people also.
Right.
Sometimes people think the metal forming industry and they only think of, well, that's the stamping environment. No, we do everything. We get involved in the our MBA program, and that program helps and is very good, especially from the HR standpoint of developing what is it we want to have and where do you want to go. Because we have very unique challenges in that world.
Right.
Our HR challenges are very different from people that, when you say manufacturing, well, that could be your shoes that you wear to the clothing.
Safety, right. and I agree with you. I think what I've done with the people that have worked with me and my team is provide them the resources to do the training. I have one person going through the MDA right now. It's going to be a wonderful experience for this individual because I'm investing in that person, and they see it. And to your point, they just want to be. It's not about always the pay. It's about what we're giving them to be successful and showing them. So, at PMA, whether it's the EDU, whether it's the roundtables, whether it's the networking groups. I mean, I've encouraged several of my teammates to join the networking groups because their frame of reference a lot of times is Waukesha Metal Products. But what about what's going on in this company? What's going on in this company? That's the best practices. That's what you want to learn from this.
Yeah.
It's not always, you should be open to learn from other companies, whether they're competitors or not, because it's a rising ocean raises all ships.
That's right.
I said that right. That's important. That's what we have to do as leaders in manufacturing.
Yeah, and I like that too, that you say that leaders. It is our responsibility as leaders in our industry to do that, to build the next generation.
Right.
I've had my share of very good managers or supervisors that have told me over the years that a sign of a good leader is not that everything falls apart when you're not there.
Right.
It is that you are building your future. You are building leaders. You are building that success and that path to that.
That's right.
And I think people like yourself, we really want to thank you for being here and being part of the Precision Metal Forming Association.
It's very proud when you walk through here and you see all the talent and the things that we do as an organization, PMA, and the again, if you're in this industry, you got to be a member of PMA. We bring so much to the table, and I appreciate all the work you guys are doing, because it's spreading the word. You're the evangelist, right? And we need more evangelists out there.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you so much. We really appreciate everybody watching the video and being part of our group here. The Precision Metal Forming Association, we'd love to see you come down to our booth here at the Metal Form Pavilion here at FABTECH 2024 here in Orlando. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.